Awesome. So happy Wednesday. Today is our lunch and learn. Excuse me, let me. All right. So today is our lunch and learn. Typically Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday are shorter, less information from me and more opportunity for you guys to bring your questions or concerns or, whatever's coming up. Any of the group calls you guys can bring your questions to. It doesn't matter what your question topic is. It doesn't have to be the same topic, but just so you all know that, that's what those are for. But Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I talk for about, 10 or 15 minutes or so, a little bit on a topic, on whatever that topic is that week, a piece of that, and kind of a little deep dive into that. Today, I'm going to go over kind of all the parts, but less depth, so to speak. So if you want to go back and listen to the other missed calls, you're going to catch more information. Then it's not just pick one day. You can pick all of the days. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started. We've got some opening funnies and shout outs and welcomes. I will reveal the shocking secrets that the big box diet companies and food companies do not want me to tell you. We'll go over all of those things. Some might be a surprise. Some might be, you've already known that, but hang in there. And then, of course, at the end, there's always time for Q&A, but there's only 2 people today. So we have a very, very small group. Hopefully more people join us. This is very typical for July. July seems to be the quietest month, even probably more quiet than December, surprisingly. But anyway, so if you have questions or I'm not explaining something right, please, 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 by all means, unmute and ask your question. All right, so we got our funnies, our opening funnies. I just thought these were little cute little memes for you to enjoy. I do have some shout outs. Which one are you enjoying?
The M for McDonald's.
Oh, yeah, I'm at the gym. Take a picture. All right, so shout outs. We got Dyson. She's down 20 pounds, and she said her clothes are much, much looser. And this woman has a lot of obstacles going on with her. So I'm super extra proud of her. Not that I'm not all proud of everybody, but I know what she's going through. So she's in a tough spot and she's still doing the deal. We've got Christina down 24 pounds. Congratulations to you, Christina. Sarah is down 23 pounds. She said her clothes are baggy. She said her friends even are noticing a difference. And she said when she looks in the mirror, she sees a completely different body, which is just huge. I mean, all of it's great. The clothes feeling baggy. It's just when mine are baggy, I feel so much more comfortable than when they're too tight, for sure. But when other people notice my efforts, it's wonderful. And when you look and see a body that you love and appreciate more so, that's even better. And then lastly, we've got Christy, just finished her 12 weeks. She made it to 31 pounds, did a great, great job. So congratulations to you, Christy. Some welcomes. We've got Deanne, Jane, Rhonda, Kathy, Shelley, Andrea, Virginia, Teresa, Erin, Angela, Rosella, and Lisa. So welcome to everybody. All right, so let me go ahead and dive right in. Some of these first 3, 4, 5 slides are going to be preaching to the choir. A lot of this stuff you guys are going to know. So just hang in there with me. But the magic pill, they say, oh, belly fat pill, this will lose belly fat, crazy claims, no need for diet. When they say no need for diet or workout, like you don't have to change your habits, you don't have to change your lifestyle, I would be highly, highly, highly suspect of that. There's so many creams out there. There's cellulite creams. There's, weight loss creams. I had one in my store And it's supposed to be, I think it was even called sweat, but you're supposed to put it on the part of your body that you want to lose weight on, like your belly or your butt or whatever. And I guess it's supposed to help you sweat out the stuff, but you guys, there really is no such thing as a magic pill. It would be more like the guy in the picture selling snake oil, right? All right, Nutella is healthy. Well, it was marketed, to kids as healthy. It's made with hazelnuts, skim milk, and cocoa. So why not, right? However, but it does have palm oil, artificial flavors, and a lot of sugar. And they did eventually get sued and lost because they were marketing it as a healthy product and they're marketing it to children. And this palm oil and sugar and artificial flavors are really, really horrible for kids or otherwise. But we really don't want to give our kids that stuff. Next up is honey. It's actually honey, actual honey can have some health benefits. So I'm not poo-pooing too much honey per se, but because it does have antioxidants in it. It does have enzymes in it. It does have phytonutrients in it. It can improve your immune system. Real honey, local honey is actually very good for allergies. So if you get a honey that's made locally, so if you have like allergies to certain pollens and you consume a local honey made from bees that are pollinating those local flowers that you're breathing in, it can actually improve those kinds of allergies. And I've seen it for myself firsthand when I first moved here. Thought I was sick, sniffling and sneezing and all the stuff. And then I started taking local honey and it never came back. So it can have some health benefits. As I mentioned, it relieves allergies. However, there's a lot of honeys on the market, especially if they're in a little bear or, they're marketed to kids. You got to read your ingredients list. A lot of them are not just honey. They're filled with high fructose corn syrup and other modified sugars. And we want to be aware of that. As I mentioned, high fructose corn syrup. So just be careful of that. And I know you guys aren't drinking Diet Cokes, but this is just for, so you know. We tend to lean towards diet stuff because we're trying to avoid sugars and we're trying to avoid extra empty calories, right? So it makes sense. It does taste good. It does taste sweet. It has the bubbles. It has the fizz. It has all the stuff. It's guilt-free technically because it's not giving me all the sugars that I'm trying to avoid. However, it is filled with aspartame, which can be connected to headaches and migraines. Can also reduce insulin sensitivity. And they say that these kinds of sugar substitutes, these chemical sugar substitutes still can raise blood sugars. So I definitely do not recommend sodas that are sweetened with sucralose or aspartame or those chemical sweeteners. And they can inhibit weight loss. The body is waiting for something sweet. It tasted something sweet. So it really makes it harder to lose weight. And they say those things are connected to eye problems, blurred vision. And my guess is when your liver is not happy and those chemicals make your liver very unhappy, it can affect a lot of things. And your vision is one of them. And I'm sure those of you who have already gone through the cleanse and have been in the program for a while, you might notice that your vision comes back and things are sparklier and brighter and colors are more vibrant because you've just kind of cleaned up your liver and it really does affect your vision. So we do want to be cognizant of that. Oh, and the aspartame and sucralose kill the good bacteria in the gut. And the gut is that's the other brain. The gut is your other brain. The gut is your immune system. The gut is a really important mechanism or system in the body. And so the last thing we want to do is kill that good bacteria. Going fat-free, that makes sense, right? I mean, Isn't fat supposed to make us fat? And we know fat has twice as many calories as carbohydrates or proteins. It's, for every gram of fat, you get 9 calories. For every gram of protein or carbohydrate, you get 4 calories. So it's actually a little more than double. So it makes sense that we would go fat-free, right? Especially if it's saturated with trans fats. We definitely don't want those. However, we need polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats. We need fats to absorb our fat soluble vitamins. We need fats, healthy fats for a healthy heart. We need healthy fats for a healthy brain. We need healthy fats for reduced inflammation in the body and for managing our hormones. So we really need healthy fat. So fat-free, ever since we started going fat-free in the 70s and 80s, we as Americans, as a society, got fatter. So cutting out your fat is not always the answer. And typically, especially if you're looking at like salad dressings or anything really, if like a salad dressing normally would have fat because they're normally should be made with an olive oil. So if you're eliminating the fat, which means you're eliminating olive oil, which is monounsaturated fat, which we need, the only way to make it taste decent is they're going to make it up with added sugars. And that is what we should be free of. We don't want to necessarily be fat-free. We want to be sugar-free. Plant-based meats. Well, they are lower in saturated fat. They're higher in fiber for sure. However, a lot of them have methyl cellulose. Now, methyl cellulose is one of those chemicals that's FDA approved, but keep in mind, so are cigarettes and alcohol. So I can't always give that much credibility. If there's protein in it, there might not even be any protein in a plant-based meat. And your meats, like chicken and fish and seafood and meat, is where it's the primary source of protein. But soy can be a hormone disruptor. So if it's made with edamame or whatever, then that would be a soy protein, which we want to avoid. Soy heme, that is an iron, and basically what that is, they put it in there, which is beyond me. I don't understand it because it's supposed to look like the blood, and it's basically an iron, but it's coming from soy. But if you don't want to eat meat because it's bloody, then I don't know why you would want to eat fake meat that's bloody. But that's maybe just me. A lot of people want to eat plant-based meats because they think it's better for the environment. But the factories that create these plant-based meats and the trucks and the vehicles that transport these plant-based meats are not environmentally friendly, typically. So I don't really think it makes a big enough difference for that reason. All right, so let's get into some tricks and tips. All right, so these are some of the things that they're going to be putting on the labels. And these are just some of the things I want you to be aware of. And they're doing it because it's their job to sell us their stuff. And so if they say buzzwords on there that they think we might like, or that might draw us to pick up their product and put it in our grocery cart, they're going to do it. So the first one is a very common one, all natural or natural flavors. All natural it just basically means it originally came from something natural, but it can be modified and changed and turned into a different version of itself. So even like natural flavors, it may have originated from something natural, but by the time it became a natural flavor, all the stuff they did to it, it turns it into a compound that's not the same as it was originally in its natural state. So going all natural is not always your friend. All natural, when I say all natural on a label. And this is the stuff you're going to find on the front of the product. You want to turn your product around. You want to look at the nutrition facts like in here. But the more important, even over above nutrition facts, you want to see what the ingredients are. That is going to be the telltale. But when I see the words all natural, that means it's probably full of sugar. It just they seem to go together. I'm not saying that's a guarantee. Oh, it's full of sugar if it says all natural. It's not necessarily true. It just seems it's a very common occurrence. So just be aware that all natural is not a stamp that's gonna, it automatically makes it better choice. That's kind of what I'm going to talk about that. Same with cholesterol free. I'm not saying cholesterol free is bad. I'm not saying eating foods lower in cholesterol is bad. What I'm saying is the stamp on the front of the package that says cholesterol free doesn't necessarily automatically make it a better choice. And what happens is a lot of times when you see cholesterol free on the front of the package, they're trying to get you to buy their product. And my best example is peanut butter. Anything plant-based, by the way, cannot have cholesterol in it. So like nut butters, almond butter, peanut butter, stuff like that. Sunflower seed butter, cashew butter. They can all put cholesterol free on the package, but don't pay extra for that one. So if you're looking at 2 peanut butters, for example, or 2 almond butters, I know peanut butter is out of the picture for the first 12 weeks, just to be clear. But if you're looking at a nut butter and one of them has cholesterol free and one of them doesn't, but the cholesterol free one is 50 cents more or $1 more, don't waste your money because none of the nut butters have cholesterol in them unless they've done something to add it. So if you look at your ingredient list and there's egg yolks in it, then yeah, then maybe there is cholesterol in it. But otherwise, it's going to be cholesterol free if it's all plant-based because cholesterol doesn't live in plants. So I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not a stamp for an automatic, oh, that's a better choice. It's not a guarantee. You still have to look at your ingredients. Things that are labeled as diet are usually concerning to me because those typically will have your bad chemicals in there, your colors, your dyes, your aspartame, your sucralose, those kinds of things. Or a lot of times it might be like a diet, those little diet packets, and it might be cookies or certain kinds of crackers. And well, it's only 100 calories. It's only 100 calories. So it's diet friendly. Well, yeah, but if it's still full of sugar, if it's still full of sugar, it is not your friend. What is in your products is the most important piece of information you need to know. Gluten-free, same deal with the cholesterol-free. A lot of things, I mean, gluten sensitivity and gluten this and gluten that seemed to be all the buzz maybe 10, 15 years ago, it seemed like. I think it's probably because of the chemicals they spray on the wheat and soy and corn products that we're consuming, why we get so upset with that and it causes digestive disruptions. I'm not saying gluten-free products are bad. What I'm saying is it's not a guaranteed stamp that, oh, well, if it's gluten-free, it must be my better choice. You go with a brown rice pasta instead of a regular pasta, but a and they can say, oh, well, it's gluten-free, but guess what? If it's still going to be high glycemic, it's still going to put my body in a fat storage zone. So it is still not going to be a good choice. So again, doesn't mean it's a bad choice. It just is not a guarantee that it is a good choice. Organic, I'm going to go do a deep dive into organic and what that really means. You do want to go organic for lots of reasons. It matters, the soil matters, and they have to pass certain certifications and tests. The pesticides matter. They have to pass certain certifications and tests. So we do want organic, but just because something is stamped with a big organic on the front does not mean it's a better choice. There's organic sugar. It doesn't mean that now that's a good choice. It just means that the sugar is organic and it was grown in a certified organic space on a certified organic farm. I'm not saying organic is bad. We do want to go, especially with our fruits and vegetables and, well, the eggs and meats as well. So organic is really good, but it's just not a guarantee that that it's an automatically a good choice. Low calorie or light, often like the fat-free version, sometimes when they've taken out the fat, they're adding sugars. Or when they're taking out sugars, they're adding chemicals. They've got to do something to make it taste good. And the fats and the sugars are what make it taste good. So things that are labeled diet or low calorie or light, I tend to, again, I'm not saying that it's a guaranteed bad choice. I'm just saying we got to turn that product around and read the ingredient list. This one, I had to put this one on there because they got me. They got me with this one. I was buying a yogurt and it's said on the front, sweetened with stevia. And because I used to buy those Carb Masters, which are full of aspartame or sucralose or one of the two, but those are the bad stuff. That's the stuff that's bad for the gut, right? So I found this at the store and it said sweet with stevia. And I was like, oh, hallelujah. Eureka. This is wonderful. So I bought a bunch of them and I brought them home. And it wasn't until I got all the way home because it's kind of a habit now. I just want to look while I'm eating it, maybe. And I turn around and look at it. And guess what? On the top of the list. Now, when you're reading your ingredient list, it goes from most to least. So if something's in the first top three ingredients, those are the top most ingredients in that particular product. So on this particular yogurt that's sweetened with stevia, I turn it around and I look and I see sucralose. I think it was sucralose or could have been aspartame. At the very top, I mean, it had milk or whatever, it had the dairy part, and then it had the aspartame. And then stevia was at the very bottom of the list, which means they put a drop of the stevia and a whole bunch of the chemical stuff. But because I wasn't paying attention, because I wasn't doing my read the ingredients list trick, I bought it. And I obviously I wasn't going to return it. So I did end up consuming it. But boy, what a lesson. And the same thing happened to me with a salad dressing. It says on the front, made with olive oil. And I'm like, finally, somebody's doing it right. I don't read the ingredient list. I put it in my shopping cart. I take it home. And it's not till I get home and I read the ingredients list. And again, here we go again. It's all soybean oil. And then olive oil was at the very bottom. So they did not lie. The yogurt was sweet with stevia, or the salad dressing did have the olive oil, but it was at the very bottom of the list. So in other words, they had it in there, but that was how they got me to buy it. And I'm sure I paid extra for it. And here the while they're using all the cheap junk ingredients the whole time with just a microdot of the good stuff. So if you learn nothing from today, read what's in your food. All right, let's get into juicy stuff. This is really, really important. I want you guys to know all this stuff. So eggs are a fabulous source of protein. It's a fabulous source of protein and a good healthy fat. I like the yolk and I like to see you eat some yolks. Dr. Infantino wants us to limit to 2 yolks a day. But there is a lot of health benefit, and egg is really probably the best quality protein that we can consume as humans. The body knows exactly what to do with it and can break it down easier than a chicken or a fish or stuff like that. So, but what we want to know, okay, if you look in the center, now up in the top right, there's conventional, and these birds are in cages. And they do not get to live a normal life. They don't get to act like a normal chicken. They don't get to walk around. They don't get access to food and water until they're given food and water. They don't get access to sunlight. And they live in a very, very small space. Then right below that, we've got free range and then cage free. So the cage free, it's my understanding the free range has access to food and water as they want, and they will get some sunlight. It's my understanding cage-free is they don't have the sunlight as much. Now, the ones you really want, the eggs that you want to get are coming from a pasture-raised bird. And as you can see in this picture in the top left, the greener one, these birds have a lot of space, so they can go out there and act like normal chickens. They can forage for their food. They can eat the worms and the bugs and the insects and the grass and the things that they were supposed to eat. They're getting sunlight, so they're higher in vitamin D. Like down here on the bottom left, they're 3 to 6 times more vitamin D than your conventional. Pasture-raised eggs are 70% more B12 than conventional. They have somewhere between 50 and 200% more folate and 40 to 60% more vitamin A than your conventional eggs. They also have 2 to 7 times more omega-3s, which are essential. We need essential fatty acids. So if we can get, and we're usually as Americans lower on 3, we all have too much omega-6. So nobody needs to take an omega-6 supplement. We need to take omega-3 because we want those two to be even. And that's where we have no inflammation. When we have less omega-3 and more omega-6, that's where we have inflammation. So we want, as much as we can humanly possible, get more omega-3 in. That's what we want to do. It has 2 or 3 times more vitamin E than conventional, and also more beta carotene, which is a form of vitamin A, which is good for our skin and our vision. So these are really important things that we should know about getting the pasture-raised eggs. I know that they're a lot more expensive. Also, organic eggs is not in here, but organic does provide that they have to get some sunlight. It doesn't, there's no rules on how much room. So it could be for an hour a day and it could be in a very small space. But another thing with organic eggs too, is they have to be fed organic feed. So, and the animal that you're eating, what they eat matters. You know, like a cow, if it's out there eating grass, that's what it's supposed to eat. But a cow, like a regular steak that you buy at the store, that's not grass-fed, that's eating all kinds of corn and soy products that they were never designed to eat, so they're not that healthy. So what the animal eats matters. All right, so same thing. Here's just some photos for you to get a better visual. The center obviously is the pasture-raised eggs. The convention, I can't see it. Conventional, they have limited space. They're fed GMO grains, antibiotics, and no natural sun. The cage-free, which is over here on the left, they don't get any outside either. And then the pasture-raised chickens are mostly outside. They eat grass, vegetation, forage for food, just a natural environment for those chickens. So as much chicken and eggs as you can get that are pasture-raised, that's where you want to go. All right, so fish, and we talked a little bit about this on Monday as well, but farm-raised fish, let me see if I can't move that over. They're fed pellets or fish meal, but a lot of those pellets are not foods that they were designed to eat. Also with like salmon, for example, what they eat in the wild is what turns them orange and gives them that pink salmony, orangish pink salmony color. But because they're not eating all that stuff, because they're eating pellets and fish meal and stuff they weren't supposed to be eating, they now have to add colors to them. And you know, we talked about the dyes yesterday. We'll talk about it today some more too. But those dyes are terrible for us. And the dye that comes, or not the dye, but the color that comes from the natural salmon, who's naturally orange and pink, that stuff is actually health benefit. It's benefit for our vision. It's benefit for our connective tissue. So we want those orange salmons that are naturally orange. And they're lower in omega-3s as well. So we want to do what we can to raise our levels of omega-3. All right, so wild caught, they eat small fish and they eat that red moss, if it's the salmon, which does not contain soy or wheat or GMOs or artificial colors. And the wild caught is higher in omega-3 and astaxanthin. Astaxanthin is the stuff that turns the salmon orange. That's the stuff I was talking about. That's good for your eyes and your skin and your connective tissue. Also, with the farm-raised fish, that's a good way to get parasites too. You're not going to get them from the wild caught as much as you would from the farm-raised. So just keep that in the back of your mind too, when you're tempted to go with wild or farm-raised because it's cheaper. All right, so let's talk about some ingredients. What's really in your food? All right, so dyes. We did a deep dive on this yesterday. I went into all the what is happening in your body when you consume red dye number 2, or blue dye number 1, or number 2, or red number 3 or 4, or yellow number 5 or 6. Cochineal or carmine, guess what? This little bug on the left, if you see a cochineal or carmine in your ingredient list and the thing is red, it's coming from this little insect, just so you know. Which actually, knowing what I know, it's probably better for us than all of these other numbers up here, red number 2 and 3 and blues and yellows. Those are all chemicals. Those are all petroleum based. And we have, what did I read yesterday? Like 15 million pounds of petroleum based food dyes in our food supply every year that we go through as Americans. So that's a lot of junk in your body. They cause a lot of hyperactivity and mood disorders in kids and adults, I'm sure too. So it's just really, really, really horrible for us. So, you know, the bugs seem gross and weird, but because it's at least natural, it might be a better choice. And then we've got preservatives, ascorbic acid, which can be hard on the kidneys, nitrates or nitrites. You'll find those a lot in your deli meats. We don't want those either. BHA, it's all for freshness, but it causes a lot of problems in the body. Went over a lot of that yesterday. Phosphate food additives, aluminum, potassium bromate, and sodium benzoate. These are all preservatives. And the purpose is to make that food last longer. It's more shelf stable. It won't go bad as fast. So those food companies, they don't lose as much product through, you know, stuff that goes bad or sour or rancid or anything. These are preservatives, but they're horrible for the body. I have a whole list of this stuff, and you guys can go to the private group to get the list. Some questionable ingredients. We've got the methylcellulose. That's the stuff you find, you know, in a lot of those fake meats. Aluminum, very bad for your body, your brain, causing dementia and Alzheimer's. MSG causes a lot of problems. And here's those aspartame, sucralose, or saccharin. Those are the chemical sweeteners that can affect your brain. They can affect your gut, terribly affect your gut, and make weight loss more challenging. Even though they're sugar-free, it's still causing problems in the body. And then high fructose corn syrup. You definitely want to avoid that. It is more addictive, and it's cheaper, and it's more processed, and it's more addictive than regular table sugar. And so that's why you see high fructose corn syrup in almost everything. It's you know, it's in your Cokes, it's in your sodas, it's in your salad dressings, it's in those yogurts, it's in a lot of things, a lot of canned goods, a lot of soups. I was looking at Campbell's soup the other day, and I grew up on the tomato soup, and it's all full of high fructose corn syrup. No wonder I liked it so much. Anything that's trans fat, which is man-made, so you're looking for words like partially hydrogenated oils, that is a trans fat. So just be aware. If you want the buzzword list, you can find it in the group drinfantino.club, and it'll give you a list of what the trans fats names are. Also sugar names, sweetener names, and some of these other dyes and stuff. I go into what they're doing in your body. So if you want that list, that's where you can find it. All right, so recap, there's no such thing as a magic pill. We just got to eat clean, but we got to know what we're looking for on these labels. And it's not just what's on that front label. You got to turn around and look what's in your ingredient list. So yeah, look, reading your ingredients list is the #1 thing you can do for yourself. Plant-based isn't always better or healthier. I'm not saying it's bad, but there's a lot of salad dressings that are plant-based, but it's all with soybean oil. So, you know, it's not a better choice. It just isn't always. Not saying it's all bad. I'm just saying it's not a guarantee that it's good. Where food comes from and what it eats matters. So if those farm raised or the regular farmed cows that are eating corn and soy and wheat products and pellets or whatever, or your farm raised fish, they're eating things they're not supposed to eat. Same with the chickens. We want to get those pasture raised. We want to get the wild caught. We want to get the grass fed beef once we bring beef back. So we don't want to live on a diet. None of us should live on a diet. We want to live a healthy lifestyle. All right, so if you do want the buzzword list, it's a PDF. You can download it or print it out, however you want to do that. But you're going to go to drinfantino.club to get to see it, and it should be two spots down. After I load this particular talk today, it'll be 3 spots down, but you'll see it. But I think you'll find it helpful, especially if you're new. So you want to print it out and take it to the grocery store with you. And it's gonna be disappointing in some levels because a lot of your favorite foods are gonna have the stuff I'm suggesting we avoid. But then if you turn it into kind of a scavenger hunt or a game to find the things with olive oil instead of soybean oil, or, you know, monk fruit instead of aspartame, or, you know, those kinds of things. So if we turn it into a game, it has a different feel for it. So hopefully that will be helpful. And then, of course, you guys know my coaching clients. This is my direct cell phone number. You can always respond to the automated text, but those go into the system. So if it's on the weekend, I might not see it. If you have a question after hours, after business office hours, you can text me at this number and I can answer you directly. You can always ask questions in the group, but I'm probably only going to see that once a day. You guys are coaching clients, so you will have access to me directly. So don't be shy. You know, I'm answering texts at 6 o'clock this morning. I'm happy to do it. If you guys have questions at 6 in the morning, I'm up. I will answer it, and you guys can get on with your day. So with that, I will open up to Q&A. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts about today's discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
Regarding the sugars, would you tell me what your take is about allulose?
Oh, I love allulose. It's good. It's a sweetener that does not raise your blood sugars, and it's supposed to have some health benefits to it as well. I just bought a new bag for myself, and I haven't opened it yet, but I'm dying to try. I've tried it before, so I know I like it, but I was gonna try to make some baked items with it. Kitchen Hacks is coming in 2 weeks, so I'm trying to play in the kitchen, so I have some recipes and things. I present from my kitchen on those days, so I try to come up with new recipes each time for that. So I'm just scrambling 2 weeks to go to get myself together on that.
But it's a good one, right? We don't, I mean, it's one we can use freely.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Somebody's asking, what did I tell you that causes internal bleeding? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember anything. There was something that caused a lot of kidney problems. What was that? Kidney problems. That I do remember that yesterday. Um, phosphate. The phosphate caused the kidney problems. I don't recall internal bleeding. Is high fructose corn syrup safe as corn syrup? I would think they're pretty close to the same darn thing. I would avoid corn syrup. It's a corn product, which we're avoiding anyway. It's a processed product, which we don't want. And the look and feel of it, it's very similar. I really don't know the difference between high fructose corn syrup and just corn syrup. Like you buy, like that Caro syrup. I used to put that stuff on my cereal as a kid, and I was probably eating Fruit Loops already. So I can't imagine what my blood sugars were doing as a kid, because I was apparently a sugaraholic.
Hey,
Anybody?
Tammy.
Yes.
I have something to bring out. I know y'all are not my age, but when you get older, your skin gets thinner and you bruise real easily, and you have those blood things all over your arms. And I work out in my yard a lot, and I would get them quite regular. But do you know, I've noticed that I don't have those anymore. Would this program be a reason
It's
that's
very
happening?
likely, and the reason, so what come to my head when
Hmm.
you said that, because I thought you were going to ask me, what can you take for
No,
the
it's
bruises? Because apparently you're already taking it. So my first instinct is a vitamin C, and under the category of vitamin C are different bioflavonoids and rutin, and there's different versions, rose hips, like there's different versions of vitamin C. And the
mhm,
rutin, Rutin, is a version of vitamin C that can help with the bruising. Now, if
mhm.
you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables that are high in vitamin C, you're getting it naturally. So by not eating as much junk food and not consuming vitamin C naturally, like you are,
Yes.
that might be why you were bruising more so than and
Yeah.
bruising less now, because you are eating clean and beautifully healthy. And that's why I did the topic on aging several weeks back, but the whole point was to show you how each of these foods is helping us not just lose weight, but it's also helping us age at a slower and better, healthier pace. So our skin is better, our heart is better, our brain is better, our cardiovascular system is better, because it's getting all these nutrients and vitamins and minerals through eating healthy and good and clean and just living your healthy lifestyle.
Well, I was wondering if I know that's a good thing and that I'm eating a lot healthier, but I was wondering if there's any of the supplements that would be helping me not to bruise. And
Um,
do you think there'd be anything in any of the
the
supplements that would help that?
multivitamin, I'm sure, has some vitamin C in
See?
it.
Okay.
Vitamin A is really good for your skin as well, so that might be a
Yeah.
play in it. But again, if you're eating things like carrots and bell peppers and like vegetables, like all your colors, red
Yeah.
bell peppers, those are great for vitamin A and C. And so are carrots, and so are, even romaine lettuce has a lot of A and C and minerals.
Yeah.
So you're
Well,
getting all the stuff that you need rather than being lacking of those things, which might cause easier bruising.
okay. Well, it's a good thing because you could just barely bump something and it would just look like you had been beat up,
Now
you
that I'm
know?
thinking about it, it could also be in the protein shake. Having a
Yeah.
good protein in your system. And I'm always talking to most of my clients, eat more protein, you're not getting enough. I see 2 or 3 ounces on your plate for each of these meals. It's not enough. So get a shake or 2 or 3
Yeah.
in
I
to,
usually drink one every morning, and sometimes because I work in my yard till dark and it's 8 or 8:30, it's too late to eat. I'll just drink a shake.
yeah.
So I'm trying my best to get the protein. What I'm lacking is the vegetables. I need you stated to me that I need to eat more vegetables and get more oils.
Mhm.
But sometimes when I say that I eat something, I don't put on there that I put butter on it.
Yeah,
that-
and I realize that because I know you guys are cooking. It says I add chicken, but you had to cook something, you had to put something in that pan.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
so, and especially if I see, if it says like 4 ounces of chicken breast and it's 187 calories, then you didn't. Then you air fried it or I don't know,
Right.
maybe put it on the barbecue or something. So that might be the case. But if it's 4 ounces of chicken breast skinless and it's 250 calories, I'm like, okay, that has to include an oil or a butter or something.
Yes. Well, I forget to put the oils on there, but I do use the olive oil or one of the avocado oil, one of the,
Yeah,
and I eat quite a few avocados too.
that's
So
great. That's great.
that helps, But
Mhm.
I've lost some
The
more
fats are
weight.
going to be what?
I've lost some more weight.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm down to about 25 pounds now.
Wow. What day are you on?
Oh my goodness. Oh, my book's in the other room. Hmm, I don't really know. This is
You're
probably
about
my
3/4
seventh.
through.
Yeah, this is probably about my 7th or 8th week.
Okay.
Thank you,
Okay,
Charlotte.
so yeah, about 3/4 through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 25 at 3/4 through is a lot. It's
Yeah.
really,
It
really good.
is.
Just so you all, whoever's listening to this knows, and most of my clients, oh, I thought this was going to go faster.
Yeah.
No, if like that first slide I showed you, if there's a magic pill that says lose 10 pounds in 10 minutes and you don't have to change your anything, that it's a load of poop.
Yeah.
It's just a
Well,
load. It's a load because it's not true. And it's not going to go fast. If you're going to do it right, you got to do it 1 to 2 pounds a week. And so
well,
25 is a great number.
here's a mistake that I made, and some other people may do this too, by over exercising. I don't do a lot of exercising, but I work in my yard, and I'm talking 7, 8 hours. And by the time I go to come in and take a shower, it's all I can do to get to the shower and because I'm so tired, I'm exhausted. And then I wake up and weigh. I'm one of those people that weigh every day. And I get up the next morning and I may have gained a pound or maybe not lost anything. And that happened for about 2 weeks. That I've just stayed at, right around one. But then on Sunday, when don't I don't work or do anything on Sunday, then the next day I get up and I've lost 2 pounds. And you said you're teaching your metabolism to slow down because you're working too hard. I'm pushing myself.
Well, if you're
too hard.
only getting 900 calories and you're working 8 hours in your yard,
Uh-huh.
that will slow your metabolism.
See, I didn't know that. I
Mhm.
thought, the more
Well,
you
because
work,
the
the
body
less you eat, the more
adapts.
you
So
lose.
it goes, okay, she wants us to do, 2,000 calories worth of energy and she's given us 900.
Right.
We're trying to survive. The body's very smart. The brain is less smart than the body. The body is very smart. So it's
Right.
in survival mode or in starvation mode. It goes, okay, well, we're not going to spend any calories, won't lose any weight because we're
Yeah,
not going through those calories. But
I
that's
didn't
why you want
realize
a
that.
calorie cycle sometimes, so your body is surprised, like, wait, it's 1,500 calories. Oh, it's 1,100 calories. Oh, it's 1,600. Oh, it's 1,300. Then the body gets a little surprised. And then you surprise your body with different activities too. So if you get
Yes.
out of your yard and go into weight room, for example, your
Mhm.
body would be going, wait, what's happening?
Occasionally
and
I'll
then-
go to the gym, but most of the time I think I'm doing enough exercising. But
Well, you're getting activity, and that's important,
right. Not sitting in a chair.
That's right. That's right. So there's
But
something to that, but
I'm-
building some lean muscle will help you with your bone density, will help turn up the dial on the calorie burning. It helps build the integrity of joints. So when we do certain exercises and we build strength in the muscles around our joints, shoulders, hips, knees, your spine is all a bunch of little joints. So we want
Right.
to do back exercises, want to strengthen all the muscles around there. So it just improves the joint integrity as well, in addition to calorie burning.
Right. Well, I'm like you said one time, we're taught that you starve to lose weight. And I'm still in that mode, but I've heard you say you've got to eat to lose weight. And I guess you do. If you don't eat enough and you exercise too much, your body's not going to let you lose weight.
Yeah.
And I got a little discouraged there for a couple of weeks thinking, I'm working myself to death and I'm not losing anything, and I'm not eating that much. So why am I not losing weight? But then when I took a day off and let my body recoup some, then some of the weight come off. A
Mhm.
couple of pounds, matter of fact.
Yeah. Well, and I just want to say that I appreciate you saying that, because so many people get discouraged real easy and they drop. And I don't mean drop the weight. I mean, they want to drop out, and I have to pull them back up the ladder. Come
Right.
on, honey, you're doing fine. Just hang in there. Just don't quit. Like
Right.
anything else, you're in college. If you quit, you're not going to get that graduation.
Yeah.
If we're driving a car and we don't get all the way to where we're going, we're not going to get to where we're going. If
Right.
we quit, we're not going to get there. So hang in there. It's not always roses and sunshines and
That's right.
puppy
But
dogs.
sometimes you get tired of fixing, and I've done more cooking in the last 6 or 7 weeks than I've done in a long time. But it's not that hard. You fix a meat or protein and a couple of vegetables, you've got it. You've messed up maybe a couple of pans to clean up the kitchen.
Yeah, but if you do 3 times, you make enough for 3 or 4 meals. It's the
Yes.
same pans. It's the same.
Yes.
It's the dishes once. It's the same. It's a bigger pan maybe, but that's about it.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
wash it once and you get 3, 4, 5, 6
Yeah.
meals out of it, and freeze half of it. So next week or next month you can have some. Because if it's a big pot of chili or a soup or something you could get tired of, you just kind of keep rotating them out.
My problem now is that all week I've fixed for myself, but on Sunday it's kind of like I want to reward myself and go eat somewhere in town and
And do
not have
it.
to cook it.
Do it.
I have been doing the last couple of Sundays, and yesterday I went out of town with a friend, and we went to a restaurant, and I got salmon and asparagus and a sweet potato, and didn't feel guilty. I
Perfect.
stayed on the diet, but yet I've rewarded myself in a way.
That's right. That's
It
good.
was pretty costly, but it was worth it.
Yeah, that out to eat thing is a thing.
Yes, but I'm proud of myself for the weight I've lost. I'm beginning to think I'm looking older because my face is sunk in, my neck is wrinkled more because I've lost this weight. But I haven't really lost it like real fast. And I think the slower you lose it, the less your body adapts to it more so.
Right.
But
Well, I'm sure you've seen the pictures, like somebody that's super obese and they do the deal, they lose the weight that's just hanging. I've had a
Yes.
couple clients go through this program and have to have it surgically corrected,
Oh,
which is a quality problem. If it's because I lost all this weight because I did the work rather than trying to get a surgery to get the fat removed, which will come all back if you don't change your ways, it'll come
Yeah.
back quick. But if you take a bunch of weight off to where your skin is hanging and you have to get a little fix, I'm all for that.
Well, I feel better. I'm 72 years old. You expect to have wrinkles at 72, somewhat.
I think you have beautiful skin, to be honest.
Well, thank you, thank
Said
you.
that, but the whole time you were talking, I'm like, she keeps referring to herself as old, but I think you look beautiful. Like your
Well,
skin
thank you.
looks healthy and it looks vibrant, and
Well,
that's
thank
what I
you.
see.
Thank you, Charlotte, for congratulating me on my weight loss. I'm very proud of it, and my friends are impressed. They
Oh,
say,
that's
"I wished
good.
I could lose some weight." I said, "Well, you can. You just got to get it up here."
That's where it all starts.
Yeah,
That's where
it's
it
not the
starts and
stomach,
finishes.
it's up here. That's right. But I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased. But I
Well,
don't
congratulations.
want to get through. Thank you. I don't want to get through with this program and gain it back. I want to stay. It's
Well,
okay
you
to
keep showing up to these calls just to keep
Yeah.
it fresh, keep it fresh. I mean, you'll hear me repeat some of the topics and I use a lot of times the same PowerPoints, but I always add or subtract or change up some of the slides. But I don't have an actual script, so it's going to come out different every time. Plus, you're not going to remember every word I said
Right. But
from
I
12
have
weeks
learned,
ago. Anyway.
I've learned so much about things like this. And, you want to tell your friends, but you don't want them to feel like you're being pushy or a know-it-all. I'm not, but, I've learned a lot and taking notes and
Well, and in all fairness, you showed up. You show up to a lot of the calls.
yeah,
You
I
show up
try.
every week with your stuff turned in. You don't, you're tracking your foods, you're doing things.
Yeah,
You take my advice, it's not all perfect. And so we make some corrections along the way, but you just do your best. And nobody's going to be perfect, but you're doing the best you can. And like you
that's
said, you
right.
take yourself out to dinner and
Yeah.
that's perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
But when you go out to eat or either go to the grocery store, you've got this material that you've learned in your mind, excuse me, and that makes you make more wiser choices, and then that helps a lot. You
Yeah.
don't, it has to be a lifestyle. It can't be a diet. It's
Yeah.
got to be a lifestyle. You've got to stay within the limits, and I don't want to gain it back. I feel comfortable, and I really don't want to lose a whole lot more weight. Another 3 or 4 or 5 pounds, and that's the limit. I don't want to lose too much and look like you're sick.
Well, once you get to the place you want to be, then you can kind of maintain your calories. Now, then, if you're consistent, because the body does adapt and then it will stay the same.
Mhm.
So that can be a benefit later. But
Right.
if you're trying to change your body, we have to do something different. If we're trying to keep
Right.
it the same,
Yeah. Yeah, but you can't go overboard. That was the question I meant to ask yesterday about the sweeteners. Do they make you hungry? Do they make you crave sugar more? The artificial sweeteners.
The artificials, yes, I believe they will. They will perpetuate the need for sweet.
Sweets.
I don't know that would be true or not true for the allulose and the monk fruit and the stevia. I often do have something sweet. So it might
Yeah.
be because I have often something sweet and I want something sweet.
Yeah, I do too, but I
But
try
I
to.
make sure it's sweetened with the right sweetener, so I don't feel as guilty about it. And I try not to do it every day, but sometimes
Well,
that comes.
those drinks that you told us sell, Ziva, you said that we could drink
Yeah.
Ziva. Is that what they? Yes, right. I can drink those, but I have to water them down. They're too sweet. I
These are
can't drink
very
them.
sweet.
Yes, they are. But I mix them with water and it works fine. Just gives the
Yeah, or
water.
club soda, so it's still as much bubbles, but less
Right.
sweet.
Right. Okay.
Actually, I do that too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go all the way sweet, or sometimes I'm not in the mood for that much sweet, so I will dilute it with club soda.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that winds my questions up.
Well, thank you for being here. Does anybody have anything else before I go? All right. Well, I appreciate you all being here and your participation. Hope you're having a wonderful summer, and I will see you guys all next time.
Okay. Thank you.
And
Tammy.
next week is going to be the power of you. So there's more mindset stuff that we can work through.
Yes. That's good. I need that too.
We all do. It's a constant practice is what it is.
Yes, it is. All right. Thank you, Tammy.